This is an interesting one for a number of reasons, the first one being the country of origin. Because I wasn't sure if this was a Belarusian movie or German or Belgian or what. Now after a quick Google I found out that it was indeed submitted to the Oscars on the behalf of Belarus. However, it didn't qualify because most people involved aren't actually from Belarus. And to make things even more complicated, and why I was a bit confused to begin with, is the fact that this movie takes place in a German concentration camp during World War II. But the main character is Belgian, but he of course speaks French and is played by an Argentinian actor. And if that's not confusing enough, the whole idea of the movie is that he pretends to be Persian. Now does any of that actually matter when it comes to the movie itself? Not really, but I found it to be very interesting. Or well, the fact that the protagonist is a Belgian Jew pretending to be Persian does very much matter. In fact, the whole movie hinges on it, because that's what the whole story is about. Now, does he even speak Persian? Of course not. That's what makes the whole premise so intriguing. But how do you pretend to speak a language you don't actually speak? Well, when it's a matter of life and death, turns out people can be very, very resourceful. And you know, if the setting and circumstances weren't so grim, this would actually be hilarious. And it is kinda funny to watch, but at the same time, the movie never lets you forget what's at stake here. The guy's survival. Now, I actually loved the premise, but I was a little bit worried about how it was gonna last 2 hours. Because it is very simple after all, and I just couldn't see something like this working for that long. But you know what? While I don't think the pacing was necessarily excellent, it worked well enough. It does find ways to keep things going, and the situation slowly evolves. And I probably wouldn't have cut any of the main storyline here. I liked it. However, the movie does introduce some secondary characters here that I don't feel like really contributed much to the main story. Don't get me wrong, I even liked that stuff, but did it actually benefit the story? Did it add to it? Did it support it? Was it crucial, and did it have a real impact? I don't think it did, so why was it there? I'm not sure, but it's the sort of thing you kinda have to just brutally get rid of when writing stories. And that can be difficult, especially if it works on its own and you just wanna hang on to it. And at the end of the day, in this case, I don't think it hurt the movie, so I'm fine with it. In fact, I'm fine with just about everything about this movie. It's just very well made and I liked it a fair bit. It looks great, the story is gripping and engaging, and the character and dialogue writing is really good too. And the two performances by the main characters are nothing short of excellent. I mean, I like the protagonist played by Nahuel Perez Vizcayart a lot. But his character was just so subtle and understated, and I mean for a good reason. But that sort of let Lars Eidinger try to steal the show here, and he did a great job. I loved him in this, and he just knocked it out of the park, and yeah, those two couldn't have been better. Now, if I had one legit critique of the movie, it would probably be with the premise itself. Because while I loved it, and while I thought they made it work very well, at its core, it feels a little bit silly and like it wouldn't actually ever work in real life. Like, you can't just pretend to speak a language you don't speak. There would be some obvious ways of finding out if it's legit or not. Now, the movie did claim it's inspired by true events, so while I watched it, I assumed something like this must have happened. But afterward, I gave it a quick look and couldn't find anything about the true story behind it. So, you know, I'm guessing they're playing fast and loose with the term inspired here. But did that actually ruin the movie for me? No, not at all. They handled it so well, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. And as a result, I'm thinking this one deserves something like a high 7. Boop. And yeah, I would probably suggest you check it out, or you could also not do that. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic.